calendar when the season started?
No. I mean, I really didn't look ahead on the schedule at all. I mean, I didn't even really look at our week one schedule until we were deep into training camp. I was looking at preseason week one and, focus on Winnipeg and preparing for that and training camp and stuff. I didn't even know we were playing Sask in week two until it was almost game time for BC. And they were talking about it on TSN or when the Sask game was playing week one of who their next opponent was going to be. That's the only time I found out about it. So I don't really look too much ahead and just kind of try to focus on the week that we have coming. And Calgary's a really good football team. And I was there for really great couple years in the beginning of my career, and have a lot of love for the players that are there and the coaches that are there that I got an opportunity to play with. But at the end of the day, it's just more reason to go out there and try to get a victory.
A lot of nice throws today. It looked like you did a lot more and better things on Saturday. Do you feel like things are coming along nicely?
Yeah, I feel like just as an entire team, we're really coming together and piecing it together. We're obviously not there yet. We saw that at the end of the game where down at the wire we made too many mistakes. I made too many mistakes, and we didn't get a chance to finish the game the way we wanted to. But I think we're really getting there, and I feel like the whole team feels it, not just on the offense but the defense. And we're starting to come together, and the leadership is really taking over in the locker room. And I think we're going to have some really good things this season when we do put it all together.
I want to ask you about playing for Dave Dickinson compared to playing for Chris Jones. How different is it for a quarterback when the head coach is an offensive guy compared to a defensive guy?
That's definitely going to be different, but not so much in terms of how the offense is handled and stuff like that, because I think McAdoo does an amazing job, and Jarius and Hal and our whole offensive staff, they do a great job of working together. They all are coaching and teaching all the details, and speaking the same language, and everything is really easy to communicate. It doesn't even matter which coach is handling the install. We're all on point with everything. And so from that aspect, there's not really a difference. But whenever you have an offensive coach or a defensive head coach, just practices are structured a little bit differently. And some of the things that are talked about or emphasized are going to be a little different, just because offensive mentality is a little bit different than defensive mentalities. And a lot of times when you have a defensive head coach like Jones, it's going to be really good for the team in terms of how physical we play, the kind of energy and stuff we bring, the things that defenses build themselves off of to make them really good, ends up spreading to the rest of the team. And so I think that's a really great positive that we're taking out of being here.
You've had a lot of practices with the guys that you're playing this week. Is there an advantage for you, an advantage for them, because you know them, they know you? Where does the advantage lie in that situation?
I would say it is advantageous to understand them and played against that defense and Monson for a couple seasons, seeing him in training camp, seeing what works, what doesn't work. And kind of having an understanding of some of their players, but they also have a lot of new faces. Most of the defensive players that were there when I was there are in Toronto now, so it's a different looking defense for the most part. But it's going to be fun and challenging to go, face guys that do know me and know some of what they might have figured out to be my tendencies a couple years ago.
Have you crossed paths with Ricky Ray at all in your career? Named to the Hall of Fame today.
In 2016, when I was here, I came up to Calgary for the practice roster expansion. I was here for about a month and a half-ish. And one of the games that we played that year while I was here, I think Toronto had come to Calgary, and Ricky Ray was the starting quarterback. And at that time, I didn't know anything about Ricky Ray, and he did really well. And I think it was like as it was leading up to the game, and we were talking about their team, because when we're on offense, we're not really focused too much on the opposing team's offense, but people were talking about Ricky, and I started to ask who he is and stuff like that, and then looked up his stats, and then was very attentive when their offense was on the field just to see him play. And I think he dropped a couple great his signature corner throws in that game too. So it was fun to watch him. I know that was near the end of his career, but and then I think I was on the field in 2018 when we were at Toronto early on in the season. I think it was 18, not 19, that he hurt his neck and played his last game. That was against us. So yeah, I got to see him a little bit, and he was special.
Pretty incredible. I think he leads two franchises in yards passing.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
Yeah, I would probably say that's not a great look for the first team that let him go, because obviously he had a lot left in the tank still. But more credit to him that he was able to take that. I think he was traded from Edmonton to Toronto, if I'm not mistaken, and took that and then kept going and kept producing. Really, two different Hall of Fame careers in one.
Shout out to Eric Tillman.
You trained with Kenny over the offseason.
Oh yeah.
You guys' chemistry last game was really good, 150 yards off of 12 catches. And is that helping your passing game? Is he allowing you to become more comfortable with your passing game? And is that going to translate to other players?
Yeah, I think like the things that he does best. Obviously, he makes incredible catches, has great hands, can go make the contested catches and do all that stuff. Runs great routes, gets open, but he has such a great feel for the defenses and understanding of just space and area and people around him. And I feel like it's a really underappreciated and not easily seen and recognized skill to just have a really keen awareness of everything around you and where people are and the angles that they're taking and how holes and windows are opening up in the passing game. Somehow he feels everything around him and he's able to always just seem to get open, knows how to set up his routes and coverages on when he has options and choices of how to run routes and where to break. He always just chooses the correct way, and that's always really friendly to a quarterback because it allows us to just see him and trust him that he's going to run to wherever is open. And wherever we see him break, just trust and throw the ball to him because he's not going to lead us into an interception. I would say that's one of the biggest things about him, and obviously he does everything else incredibly as well. But I think that's one of the things that probably results in so many targets and catches and stuff for him this last game.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you very much.